Dear friends, today we see a new machine, that is planer machine. In this video, we'll be discussing the working of a planer machine, its important parts and its functions, then different types of planer machine and the operations. So what is a planer machine? It's a machine, very large machine, huge machine, is normally used for getting flat surfaces, for generating flat surfaces for a large component or an object. It's very similar to a shaper. The operation is somewhat similar to shaper, but it is very larger than the shaper machine. It also have only translatory motion. That means it doesn't have any rotation. Workpiece is moving. Here, tool is not moving. Tool is stationary. That is major difference between the shaper and the planer. Here the workpiece is actually translating or sliding. The workpiece is held on a table and the table is moved on a bed. And the mechanism used for this cutting motion is either by using a motor with double means with which can operate in two directions, and by using a rack and pinion arrangement or by using hydraulic system we can operate this machine. So this is the machine. It consists of a table. This is the long table with the T-slots. It is held on a base. This is the base or bed of the machine. On the top of the bed you can see a joint, a dovetail joint. In that dovetail joint a table is held so that the table will be smoothly moving to and fro. And another important component is the this vertical column. This is actually known as housing of the machine, and a cross rail. Actually the cross rail is very important and it is actually holding the tool, and the tool can move to and fro on the cross rail. So these are the important component of the planer machine. Planing machine parts: bed, table, column, cross rail and tool head. So the operation is very similar to the shaper machine. So you can see two sketches, one is the shaping and the other one is planing. And actually the cutting operation is very similar, only the difference is here the tool is in the case of shaping machine the tool is moving, reciprocating on a ram, and but in the case of planing machine the tool is stationary and the workpiece is sliding over a table. That is the difference. And actually in result the cutting action is almost same. And it both use the single point cutting tool, move linearly related to the workpiece. That means only linear motion. So this is the schematic representation of a planer machine, and it is a type of planer machine. It is having double housing. So this is the housing, one here and the other one other side, and both a cross rail is connected to these two housings, and on the cross rail we can see the tool head is the vertical tool feed. This is the vertical tool feed and this is the horizontal tool feed. And also some type of planer you can see the tool head on the vertical column also, that is on the housing also. And there is a table on the bed. So these are about the different parts of a planer machine. Bed is the largest size component of the planer machine. It is also actually it is the one which holds the entire load of the machine. It supports the column. It made by cast iron. It is the bed is slightly longer than or sometimes twice that of the length of the table, and there is a V-shaped groove on the top of the bed to accommodate the table. The table is a flat surface, and it is having a V groove on the actually not V groove, a V joint is there on the bottom of the bed, and that will go into the V groove of the bed. And the table is made of good quality cast iron. The top surface of the table is actually having T slots to accommodate or to hold the workpieces. Column. It is actually the housing of the machine, and the vertical structure placed on the each side of the bed. Sometimes one side of the bed. They are heavily ripped to raise severe force due to cutting. And as it is a robust machine, the column is very stronger to hold or to accept all types of forces and vibrations. It also facilitates tool head mechanism in the housing. That means the movement of the tool head in the two different directions, the vertical direction and the horizontal direction. And the cross rail can move up and down on this column. Cross rail, it is a rigid box like section, and it's also casting. It may be raised or lowered on the face of the housing and can be clamped at any desired position, and it is the one which holds the tool or the tool head. Tool head, according to the construction, it is similar to the shaper tool head. Tool heads are mounted on the cross rail, and saddle may be there to move the transverse direction, and the clapper box is also incorporated for not to disturb while return back the tool or the workpiece. The classification of the planer. There are different types of planer based on the design and its requirement. Double housing planer. It consists of two housings, two columns on both sides of the bed. Then open side planer is only one side column and the other side is open. The divide type planer is having two beds which are divided into two pieces. Then the pit planer is actually something different. That means in pit planer the tool head is moving, not the table. Then the miller planer, it is actually the it is actually the combination of a milling machine and a planer machine. Double housing planer, it is very old system machine, and it is very robust and very rigid, very stable, and massive bed on which the work table reciprocates. A planer having two housings to support the cross rail with the two heads on the cross rail, two vertical columns on which two tool can be hauled, and the cross rail fitted between two columns and carries one or two heads which can slide horizontally on the cross rail. So this is the photo of a double housing planer machine. You can see the two columns, a huge two columns, massive structure, and this cross rail is actually supported by these two columns housings, and the mechanism of moving this cross rail in the up and down direction and horizontal direction is also incorporated in this column. And this is the table which is sliding on the bed of the machine, and here you can see two tool heads. So at a time you can do the two operations, or you can machine two workpieces, or the same workpiece can be machined to two sides. That is also possible. Open side planer. It consists of one vertical column. Column and cross rail consists of single and double tool head. Column and cross rail consists of single and double tool head. Sometimes single tool head or sometimes two tool heads. Used for the machining of wide workpiece, because if the workpiece width is larger than the space between the two columns, we cannot use a double housing planer. So if one side there is no column, so we can machine the workpieces of any width. That means it is free to move in the one direction as it is open. So this is the open type planer machine. You can see this is the cross right. It is cantilever type. This is the column, only one column on one side of the bed. So this is the table. So you can hold or you can machine any width workpiece of any width can be machined. So that is the advantage. Divide type planer, that is two-bedded. It also called a tandem planer. Consists of two work tables used for continuous mass production. That means on one table the workpiece is moving. That means when the machining is taking place on one bed, you can hold the work. You can have some operations, or you can do the settings on the second table. That means you can save the time. Two table or also can join together to get a long bed. That is also possible. So this is the divide type planer. Now you can see only one table, and you can keep one more table here, somewhere here, and sometimes if you want to close together, that is also possible. So but the tool head, crosswise and housing is only one. So by using the same thing, if you want to machine, that is possible, which can the workpiece can be held in both the tables. So that means you can save the time by holding the workpiece in one. That means while machining operation is going on one table, you can do something else. That means you can set the machine, or you can set the arrangements. You can do the loading of the workpiece on the other table without disturbing this machining operation. Pit planer. The pit planer is entirely different from the this double housing or cantilever type planer machine, because it uses, that means here the tool head is moving, not the table. So table kept stationary and tool is reciprocating. It is designed for machining large workpiece, which is very difficult to move, and it is convenient and economical to move the machine rather than the workpiece. So you can bring this machine anywhere, and if the workpiece is very large, then this machine can be used. Pillar planer, Miller planer. It is the tool head is having the can do the milling operations. Actually, it is a planer. That means the tool head can reciprocate. At the same time, while doing the reciprocating movement, it can rotate also. That means the tool can rotate. That means you can use a milling cutter while for doing the machining operation. Same as double housing planer. The structure is same, and it has milling cutter or grinding head also can be used. Sometimes it is also used. The grinding head is also used. That means you are changing the head of the double housing planer with the head of the milling machine or the grinding machines. Work holding devices commonly used in planer machine are T-bolt and clamps, stop pins, toe dogs, that means holding thick workpieces, and machine vices, and some special type of fixtures can also be used. This is already discussed while discussing the work holding devices of the shaper machine. Planing operations. Mainly we can machine flat surfaces that is vertical flat surface as well as the horizontal flat surfaces. The common types of work machined in a planer are just for machining the lathe bed. For example, it's a large component, it's a massive structure, so we can machine the top surface of the bed on the planer machine. Also for machining table of all kinds of machine tools, and for machining large structures, frames of different engines, and identical pieces of the work which may be in small size also can be used. For example, if you have to machine the surface of the cylinder which are identical, and you can stack this cylinder on the table of the planer, and all together you can do the machine because all are identical. So firmly hold these workpieces of identical shape or size on the table, and move the cutting tool or move the tool head, so that it will be getting the same machining operation on all the parts. So that is also an advantage. Operations on planer: planing flat horizontal surface and vertical surfaces. So planing horizontal surfaces, you can see this figure. It's a very simple figure. Here the it's a rough sketch of the open type planer, and it is the cross rail, and this is the housing, and this is the tool head. So in the case of flat surface, horizontal flat surface, to generate horizontal flat surface, the tool head or the tool has to move horizontally. The tool has to move horizontally. So we can have two types of movements for the tool head, that is the horizontal movement on the cross rail and the vertical movement. So both are possible. The vertical movement is by lowering, by lifting and lowering the cross rail, and the horizontal movement is the tool head is only moving on the cross rail in the horizontal axis. So both are possible. So here the workpiece is reciprocating on the table, so the table is moving only in this direction. Table is moving in the x direction, and the cross feed can be given by moving the tool head over the cross rail, so that you can complete, or you can machine the entire surface of the workpiece. So both longitudinal is actually the movement of the bed or the table, the movement of the table, and the cross direction is actually the movement of the, or the feed of the cutting tool. So by these two operations we can generate horizontal flat surface. So now we'll see the vertical surface. The vertical surface is different. That means here you have to give the means vertical feed. Vertical feed while reciprocating the workpiece. So the workpiece is reciprocating on the table. So while moving on the table, by lowering the cross rail, we have to give the vertical feed, so that you can machine the surface, the vertical surface. So here also we can do the slotting operations. In the long slot can be cut on a planer machine. Tools used are similar to the tools used in the shaper machine. Uh, as a planer tool has to take up a heavy cut, means it is machining large components, and the metal removal rate is also large, so it has to have to carry heavy load, so it should be very strong. Planer tools may be forged tools. It is forged tools. Also bit type tools are used. Bits are made of high speed steel and stellite or cemented carbide tools. Cemented carbide tools are used for production work. A planer tool may also be classified as right hand or left hand tool. Also some roughing and finishing tools. So these are the different tools used in a planer machines. Just to see this one, this is the right hand roughing tool, because edges you can see the cutting edge is not sharp, it is having a small curve, and this is in the opposite, the curve is in the opposite side, that is left hand, and this one is the round nose, and this is flat square nose. This is not square nose, and this is for right hand cutting tool, and it's sharp edge, and this is left hand with the sharp edge, and this is knife edge with the right hand dovetail joint. This is like a dovetail tool, and this is left hand dovetail like a wedge shape. So this is about the planer.